What's up guys, Who Needs Meta here, coming at you with another retro deck profile. Today we're going to look at my Bujin list for Vegas format. If you guys aren't familiar, Vegas format is April 2014. It's the same list as Hat, but you don't have artifacts, you don't have soul charge, you don't have hands, and you don't have the Lightsworn structure, so no Raiden. I think this format is really fun. If you've never tried it, give it a chance. It's super fun. We'll get right into the list. I went 4-0 with this at a little event we had. There's a live stream of the entire tournament. If you're looking for my feature matches, it's rounds 1 and 4. But yeah, 3 Yamato, the main card in the deck, the card you need to see. We play a ton of cards to make sure that we see this card as early as we possibly can. Another thing to note off this card is it just says add a Bujin monster from deck to hand. So you can add itself. So if you feel that your Yamato is in a vulnerable state, it often is correct to Yamato for Yamato. A lot of people don't really do that. I haven't seen too many people do that. But yeah, I would recommend doing that if it's the game state calls for it. 2 Mikazuchi. You don't need more than 2. I've tested 3 a little bit. Not really. It's not necessary. I'd rather play 3 Carnation than 3 Mikazuchi. But yeah, that's the card that searches your Carnation, essentially. It searches a Bujin spell or trap. We joke that we couldn't name a single other one other than Carnation. It's the only one worth playing. But these are your main attackers. It's kind of how you're going to win the game outside of your extra deck with Susanowo. For protection, you have the 2 Hare and the 2 Turtle. Important to note that the except during the damage step is not correct on this card. This is an errated version. At this time in the TCG, not in the OCG, but in the TCG, you could Turtle in damage step. In terms of which one you go for first, it depends on the matchup, but I would say majority of the time, Hare is correct first. If you're trying to load up your graveyard. That obviously depends on, again, the matchup and whether or not you're just going to dump or you're adding Crane and you've already ditched one of these, or you have one of these in your hand to ditch, essentially. And then I've seen lists cut Quilin. I think Quilin is awesome. It's super important to get rid of certain cards. Like, there's just stuff that you need to get rid of in certain matchups. The big one that I noticed was against Mythic Ruler, being able to out Colossal Fighter. Because, again, you don't really have, like, a battle trick, and you don't want to waste a card like Diamond Direwolf on that. So being able to go for this is really helpful. Also, being able to just set up Carnation, because, again, I mentioned that I played 3. Just, like, there's not a lot of time. There's some games where, like, your opponent hasn't done anything with Turtle or Hare, but they have a way to remove the Yamato from the board. Just being able to be like, okay, I'll just banish this. Pop a card. It doesn't even have to be a super impact card to, like, set up Carnation, where if you, like, summon, you're worried about, like, TT and you don't have Hare already, but you have this in your graveyard, you're like, okay, I don't have anything else in my graveyard, I just have the Quilin. I can go Quilin, banish, pop, and then if they do something to my board, I can go Carnation if they still have a guy, because obviously they need to control a guy. But there are times where your board gets cleared and you just want to set up, because you can also have multiple Carnations in hand, again, because you're playing 3 and it is searchable with Mikazuchi. Talked about this. 3 Crane. There are matchups where this card does get boarded out. We also, of course, play the Honest, which I'll usually board out one of these before I won't board out this. This is obviously searchable, so you want to be able to have the option to search it. But hard drawing this card, like, it's just the better one. So these are your battle phase tricks. They also do different things. Honest being better with the Susanowo, because against the end phase instead of the battle. 3 Effect Veiler. It's the better hand trap of the 2. I still do play 2 copies of Maxx, but I think Veiler is just the better one in this format. I tried 3 and 3, and I ended up going down to 2. This card's really good against dragons, good against water, but Veiler is just better against more of the meta. But that's it for the monsters. It should be 19 monsters. On the spells, I already mentioned the 3 copies of Bujincarnation. I just like having follow-up to where a lot of times you can't protect your motto. And another lot of thing is you can summon the Hare and then Susanowo and then, like, put it back. So that's really good. It does lock you into those types here, the Beast, Warrior, Wing Beast. So we've kind of built our extra deck around that. But I just like this card. 3 copies of Tenki. Again, this searches Yamato. We want to be able to get this card into our hand as quickly as possible, so we need ways to do that. This is one of the better ones. Also, the stat isn't, like, super crazy. Also, I do cite some interesting cards that play along with this. We'll talk about 3 copies of Pot of Duality. We're not special summoning a whole bunch. And honestly, this card, just the consistency, again, seeing Yamato. Even with this, the 3 copies of Upstart Goblin. It's just, again, another way. I actually don't board these out. I didn't do it during the entire time of the event we had. I never boarded this card out. I don't think I ever have in any of them. Just because the card, you want to be able to see cards that prevent your opponent from playing the game 2 and 3, because your side deck is pretty good. And there are ways that you can get locked out of the game, so you want to be able to get all of that. 3 copies of Forbidden Lance. This is the one change that I took from the weekend. I was playing Dark Hole instead of 3 Lances. I mentioned it in the live stream that 3 Lance, every time I saw this card, it was awesome. I was like, man, I just wish I had more Lances. The fact that you can use this going second to put your Yamato through a Bottomless or a TT or something, just going second is really cool, and then you're good to set up, and you just don't have to attack or whatever. You're fine. You can even if they don't have a guy, and it works well with Crane, because the idea that Crane sets the attack, so it goes back is good. So it's you can still get over stuff with Crane and this card. So the interaction is really good. And then 3 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. We just want to make sure that Yamato hits the board. And we want to make sure that it's safe and protected and all that stuff. It's a Protect the Castle deck. We know all about that. The only trap cards are these 3. Torrential, Bottomless, Warning. You don't really need anything other than these 3. I've thought about playing other stuff, and I also thought about playing Decree, but I realized I didn't even want to side Decree. Looking at the meta and being Lanson is does enough. It's oh, you can play that, and you can play Lances, you can play Book of Moon, and you can play your hand traps, and you're fine. These do enough, and then this obviously combos well with Hair, but these do enough, and you want Warning, because Warning is just Warning is so good, especially a lot of other decks play Upstart, so it's live more than you think. But yeah, that's it for the main board. 40 cards, 37 with the Upstarts. I play only 2 Susanowo. I've seen List play 3. There are games where the second one has come up, but I've never, ever needed the third. Even with the Carnations, there's just other stuff that I felt better making, but I don't think you need the third one. You can try it if you're interested. There's other stuff you don't want to play. I'm playing some stuff that I don't think other people play. Obviously, every list is going to play the Kagutsuchi. He's a big guy. Sets up your grave if you need to. And then this I've seen some list cut as well, but it's fine. You can get to low hand size, even though you're not setting your whole hand. That's for the Bujin guys. You could play 2 of this, but I'm playing 1 Honor Arc. Again, I just wanted to... There's so many times where I didn't want to, I wanted to expand the options rather than having the same option twice. I don't feel like the second Honor Arc is going to come up more than something like Paladynamo, so that's why. Exciton, Dweller, the aforementioned Direwolf. Again, this might be one that you play 2 of, but I didn't really... I wanted to play this. I think this card's good against Fire Fist, so 1 Giant Hand. And I'm not making it, but yeah. This card can steal games... Corn. Zenmates isn't super prevalent, but there are stuff like that where it's hard to get through. So Yamato can't really get through that as easily, especially because you don't have something like Breakthrough Skill. Heratlandraco, because again, this card can also steal games. Crazy Box for your skill drain matchups. And then these are the other cards. Omega, even with 3 lands, I don't know. I like the idea of having stuff that can be protected. This card is probably cuttable if there's something else, maybe a second Direwolf. This card, again, it's another one of those I can steal games cards, but if they have Backrow, you at least get your draw or whatever whenever it dies, if that's something that comes up. So, yeah, Paladynamo, it's 2k into a monster, just like Heratlandraco's 2k over the monsters, but, yeah. Also, again, effect negated, so it hasn't come up yet, but... It's possible. 2 copies of Crow. I've thought about playing 3. I think 2's fine. I decided to go with the 3rd Maxx instead. And then the 4th monster that I sided. So I do side Bear. I like this card against Girgia. I ended up siding it against 6 Samurai, and it was really good in that matchup. I liked it, just the way the game state flowed. Bear ended up being really good. So yeah. I did decide to play the 1 Bear in the sideboard, but it was mostly just to hit armors. Again, when you have 3 Lances where they try and stop you, you don't have to get to the battle phase, so you just have to get through that Bottomless or that Torrential or whatever, and you can just start chucking stuff. So yeah. I moved this to the sideboard, so I was maining this. I moved it to the sideboard. I cut Memory of an Adversary. If you expect to play a lot of the mirror, this card's really cool in that matchup. So yeah, Memory of an Adversary. But that was... I decided to go with Dark Hole because I felt it was the weakest card because I wanted to play a bunch of the 2-ofs here. So Dusts, Fire Fists, any of the Backrow decks. If you play against, I don't think you're going to see Gravekeepers. If you play against Dark World, it's a good to hit the field spell. DNA Surgeries, this is really good against Prophecy. Just being able to turn everything into a Beast Warrior as opposed to a Spellcaster means a lot of their deck is shut off, like Fate Master and all that good stuff. 2 copies of Mind Crush. This card's really good, especially against Prophecy. 2 copies of Debunk. You can use this for the mirror. This card's pretty good in the mirror anyways, so yeah, you could stop the Cranes and all the Turtles and Hares and whatnots that they would have. It's mostly going to be Cranes if we're being honest. And then 2 copies of Blackhorn of Heaven. This card's really good against Geargia. I didn't side it against Mythic Rulers. Realistically, you could. It wouldn't be terrible against Lightsworn Rulers because you can stop the Judgment Dragon summon, which is another big thing, and you can stop all the Exceeds. But yeah, that's the entire list. I really like it. It played really well. I ended up going 4-0. And I've taken it to a couple other like locals and stuff that we've had. And I've had a lot of success with the deck, so I figured I'd give it a profile. Let me know what you guys think of the list. Be sure to like and subscribe for more retro format content, and thanks for watching, guys.